Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and I'm coming at you today because I've recently watched, supposedly, the deadliest film ever made. So what was it? Was it scary? And did I survive? Well, yes, of course I survived. I'm here to do the video. But I've got a few interesting things to say about this one, so let's get straight into it. So the movie in question is Antrum from 2018. Antrum is a film that has a great gimmick, and it pitches it to us in the first 10 minutes, documentary style, where we get people from the world of film and art and film critics discussing this thought to be lost film from the 1970s called Antrum, which appeared to be cursed in that the few people that watched it all died mysteriously. They either got sick or they had a weird accident a few days later. They all died. They recount a time where it was shown in the cinema, and within a few minutes of the film starting, the cinema caught fire, and you guessed it, everyone died. And over the years, the film has been lost and kind of forgotten about. It's just talked about in hushes and whispers as this scary, mysterious film that killed everyone that watched it. And the people in this documentary kind of talk about the legitimacy of that. And then it's revealed that they found the full version, which we're about to watch. And I have to say, this is set up excellently. It genuinely is unsettling. And even I felt quite unnerved by the prospect of watching this forgotten film that had killed everyone. It's really, really well done how they did that, and they really kind of got you believing this gimmick and this backstory of this cursed film. And then the film starts. And what you have is, it's a weird one. It's essentially a very slow burn, religious-y folk horror. This young boy, his dog dies, it gets euthanized, and his older sister, bear with me, his older sister tries to convince him that there is like a heaven and a hell by digging through the various layers in the woods into the ground to summon this kind of afterworld. I think that's what's going on. Basically, there's a whole lot of digging. If you like to see scenes of people shoveling dirt, you might go for Antrum. And there's really not a whole lot else to it. I know that sounds quite a sparse description, but even now I'm trying to think of anything that goes on in this film, and there is very little. They have a couple of bizarre encounters with this guy who almost kills himself in the woods. They have a bit of a confrontation with this really creepy couple of guys, these backwood guys, that gets a bit out of hand. But none of it kind of leads anywhere or lends itself to what's going on in the story. It's all, I don't know, very sort of subtextual and just subtle in what it's trying to get at. But ultimately, I have to say, very weird and very boring. And for them to have set it up in such an unsettling way, I thought they really had to have brought something that was relentlessly scary. Like scary things happening, this film coming at you throughout the whole thing. And actually, it's quite surprising how reserved Antrum is. There's no blood, there's not really any kills, no violence. There's not really anything that goes on in this one. It just has a weird feel to it and a little bit of eeriness. Mainly, though, after hearing about its legacy in the first 10 minutes. But what they were quite trying to do or say with it, I don't know. So ultimately, I've got to say, it was a massive disappointment. They as I said, they really needed to bring something to make this film more memorable. And for me, it just suffers from being boring, really weird, and kind of sort of unambitious. They just didn't do anything with it. So yeah, it was strange to get that kind of 10-minute build up as this being the deadliest film ever made, and then it just being so slow burn and almost reluctant to hit you with anything scary. And as I say, in terms of the story, I'm sorry if it sounds a murky one, but it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me as to what was going on. So on top of that, just a kind of really dull tone of this one, and it was a hard one to get through, but not for the reasons that I thought it would be. So, deadliest film ever made? I got to disagree with it. I know it sounds harsh, maybe the most boring film ever made, but other than that 10-minute documentary at the beginning, there's really nothing to see here. This is one of those films where that first 10 minutes and the exploration of a supposedly cursed film would have been so much more interesting than what they actually gave us as the crux of the story. Really disappointing, unfortunately. So I thought I'd just come on and talk about this one because it certainly sets itself up in a very intriguing way. And if anyone has kind of come across this or seen of it and is wondering what to make of it, kind of set your expectations a bit lower, is what I'd suggest, unfortunately. But let me know what you thought of Antrim. Let me know if you've got anything of it. Let me know what it kind of, if it meant anything to you in terms of what was going on and what they were trying to get at. I'm really interested to know other people's interpretation of this one. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.